Welcome to English Podcasts. Relax and enjoy your listening practice.
One of the most common things people say after hearing about a heart attack or a stroke is, it came out of nowhere. And honestly, for a long time, I believed that too. It felt like these events were sudden, unpredictable, and mostly a matter of bad luck. But recently, I came across a major international study that completely changed the way I think about cardiovascular health. Researchers analyzed health data from more than 9 million people and discovered something remarkable. More than 99% of people who eventually experienced a heart attack, stroke, or heart failure had at least one of four major risk factors beforehand: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, elevated blood sugar, or a history of smoking. In other words, these events were almost never truly random. What surprised me even more was that high blood pressure was by far the most common factor. In over 93% of cases, people had hypertension before their cardiovascular event. The challenge is that high blood pressure often causes no obvious symptoms. You can feel completely normal while damage is slowly building inside your arteries year after year, and that, for me, was the real turning point. The study wasn't really about predicting who will have a heart attack tomorrow. It was about showing that our bodies usually give us warning signs long before a crisis happens. The problem is that many of those warnings are silent. We tend to pay attention when something hurts, but we often ignore numbers on a blood test or a blood pressure monitor because they don't feel urgent. Well, the lesson I took from this is actually quite hopeful. If most major cardiovascular events are connected to a small group of modifiable risk factors, then prevention isn't some mysterious concept. It's something practical. It means checking your blood pressure regularly, understanding your cholesterol levels, paying attention to blood sugar, and avoiding tobacco. Small actions repeated over years can completely change the direction of a person's health. So maybe the most important message isn't that heart attacks and strokes are dangerous. We already know that. It's that they often leave clues long before they arrive. And sometimes the difference between a future crisis and a healthy life is simply deciding not to ignore those clues today.